Hey there, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thank you for checking me out. Um, so, I'm kind of just rolling with it today. I don't really have that much of a quote unquote agenda, just a couple of thoughts and ideas I thought to share with people for the betterment of mankind, for us to get into that knowledge mode and find things out. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some things I was just thinking, and maybe make this a quick one. We'll see what happens, but I think you'll enjoy it. So it's about being awake and being asleep. There's different alpha, beta, theta. There's different did I say that right? Alpha, delta, theta. There's different brain waves. There's different ways that we could think, and a lot of times we are thinking that we're awake, but we're asleep. We're actually, there's something you do when you're doing when you're going to try to do some awake dreaming. When you're in your dream, and you're waking up in the dream, where you look at your hands. So that's one of the things and ways to do it. But one of the things that you would say is, I'm looking at my hands, so as to fixate on that, and then you say to yourself, am I awake or am I asleep? That's the way I was taught. And I found out about it a long time ago. I think there's other ways that you could do it. But anyway, I met, like I said the story before, high network earners. They're making $450,000 a year. But then I could just tell he's just basically sleeping through the day, sleeping through life. I could just see that, rapid eye movement, the blinking all the time when I'm speaking with him. And then when he was sitting there, and yes, you could think, you could calculate, you could make decisions, you could do everything. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people that live to be 80 years old, and we're always in a certain mind state and never really woke up. So it's kind of scary. I have a saying. I coined the phrase that it's easy to be enlightened on the yoga mat, but when someone throws a rock at your head, it's hard to be enlightened then. So, the reality is kind of that set up that way, that we get these rocks thrown at us, people getting angry and upset and things like that, and they're always kind of coming against you and saying certain things. And that's how it is. Like, I could be totally enlightened, sitting at work or doing something. All of a sudden, somebody says, something that gets a visceral reaction, says, oh, somebody got shot, or something. And you go, what? And then, you're taken away, your mind state, because we match vibrational levels so easy. We match vibrational levels. So there's these vibrational frequencies that can be, sent out, and that permeates things. And then, with 5G, and it permeates and it goes out there, supposedly only goes to short distances, but let's say you get that, and it changes your mind frequency. So now you're at the different frequency, and you're like, I got to get back to that. I got to get back to where I was normal, where I was at that mind state, where I was at that oneness of God, where I was there and I was enlightened, and now I'm at this different state. How do I maintain that over time? So that's the hard part, is letting go of the id, letting go of the ego. Everybody's always talking about the ego, but a lot of what we do in the world as people trying to be awake, is you wake other people up, and you do it by being yourself, being centered, and knowing who you are, and being more centered towards yourself. So all I'm really saying is that it's easy to fall asleep. I was thinking a lot about Jesus in the garden. I always mangle at Gethsemane, I always mangle that word. But when he's in the garden, and I was thinking about it, like he knew, if what was going to happen. He knew, because if you're imagine you're you, but you have no GMOs, no things, your pineal glands detoxified, you're praying all the time, you're fasting, you're being like Jesus, you're going out there, you're doing the right thing, you're healing the sick, you're doing everything right, and then you're gonna die in a few days. Like, you'll know, you'll just know. So, and then he figured it out. He knew what was gonna happen. He's praying in the garden, and everybody around him, just falls asleep. But he knew, and he's like, listen, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die a horrible death in 3 days. Just stay up and pray for me. And the real telling part is that, he was praying for his body, and that's the important part to realize. He was praying for his body, but he said, gee, if that's your will, God, then your will be done. So he's praying for himself, but that's it. He knows, the way it is the way it is. So, it's just such a hard lesson for, to get over that hump, and just to think, is it just for the betterment of mankind? Is it, what's it for, and it's just so, if you're following the right path, and you're following everything correctly, and you're doing the right thing, then that's it. That's all you need to know. I guess that's it. And we all need to, do the right thing ourselves, and just follow the right path. And then it's just the way it is. We're all gonna die one day. We're all gonna die. It's horrible. But it's just, from now until then, are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the right choices? Are we helping others? Are we just helping ourselves? So, the whole thing about it is that, upsets me all the time, is they leave God out of the equation. They leave God, the creator, out of the equation for a lot of things, especially the abundance stuff. They said, well, if you want abundance to happen, you gotta imagine that you achieved it already. Okay. So what you're trying to do, okay, is take on that mind state of all. And it's funny, because people are trying to hack the system. They're always trying to hack the system. They're trying to hack it and say, well, I'm not really being God, but if I imagine I have it already, then something's going to happen where I'm going to get abundance. And, so they're trying to hack it, but they're trying to just be themselves, like to gain that. They're trying to be enlightened, but not actually be enlightened, but still try to, tell the quote-unquote universe that, you're enlightened and you deserve it, because you imagine that you already have it already. So it's kind of like a reverse hack, and it's kind of funny. It might help it's better than just saying you're separate from it. Yeah, I get it. It's better than saying you're separate from it. But the real thing is to, try to achieve enlightenment, and then, see it, how it benefits, the universe, or not. And if it's not benefiting the universe, then, that's just the way it is. And that's what it is. It's not being, it's being you, but being you in the world, and separate but all together. And everybody leaves out God, so we got to put God back into the equation, and that's what this channel's about. Putting God back into the equation instead of leaving God out. And the thing about with that is, God doesn't want you to be so enthralled that you don't make your own decisions. So that's another aspect of it, so you having free will. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. I hope you're going to have a great day. And if you have the chance, you have the money, if you want to give something to charity, I really appreciate it. All right, good luck out there. Bye-bye.